In death, I shall be stronger. Unlock other skills by death. A system notification said, copying a random skill from the constellation killer. Please pick a skill card. Kim Gonja looked above the system notifications and said to himself they were classmates. They spent time together in the same classroom. One of their clocks broke and another's was destroyed. Why is it always the good ones who are broken and destroyed? Why is it that the people who hurt others are fine, while the person who was hurt has to die? Sword Emperor said, I love it when you let your guard down and end up dead because of it. So? The 50th floor was not easy, huh? The constellation killer is not an easy prey, huh? You should not have used such sneaky little tricks to get up here in the first place. This is all your fault, Kim Gonja said to himself. He does not seem to know what I have just been through. He did not enter the trauma this time with me. He was with me in all the other traumas, though. Kim Gonja said, I had a bad dream. Sword Emperor said, huh? Kim Gonja said to himself, it was different this time. Kim Gonja said, trauma. This trauma was a bit strange. You were not in there with me, and the constellation killer's state of mind was not properly realized, like there was an error. Kim Gonja said to himself, I better keep that a secret from him. Telling him that he was my father? He would tease me to my grave. Sword Emperor said, that is strange. It does not make sense that I was not there with you. I am called a ghost or whatever for convenience's sake. A system notification said, Sword Constellation Rank, A+ effects from another world, cleared his world's tower until the 99th floor, but was defeated just before the 100th. His resentment was so great that he became a wandering spirit. He cannot physically interact with this world, but he can mentally interact with the ability holder. Get advice from his extensive knowledge and experience. Sword Emperor said, but I am technically a skill. I do have memories of my past life, but in the end, I am nothing more than a skill card. I am like a tenant in your head. As he poked Kim Gonja's chest, Kim Gonja said, really? Then why did that happen? Sword Emperor silently thought, then said, I do not want to think about it. I am sure we will get an answer someday if we just keep it in the back of our minds. Let's take a look at the skill you got. It has been so long since you received one, that Lady Golden Flower only had blessings and such. As Sword Emperor looked around the skill cards, he then said in confusion, Man, this guy had all the good skills. A system notification said, Puppeteer's Parade Rank, S effects long ago. An old puppeteer lived in some world. He was fragile and was afraid of being loved, but also of being lonely. Let's make another me. He ended up loving himself. Countless puppets lived. Countless puppets were abandoned. This skill is sorcery for the weak. It is the power to decide which memories you keep and which ones you lose. You are able to create 13 puppets, which are your clones with the same abilities. If a puppet dies, another will arise. A broken puppet can be repaired. A mock immortality for you. Eternity. A fabricated one. The puppets cannot share memories. Kim Gonja said, this is why I strongly dislike hunters who are carried by their skills. Kim Gonja said to himself, a total of 13. Sword Emperor said, oh, this one is interesting too. Kim Gonja said to himself, then what about the original? Does that count as one of the 13? A system notification said, Shredded Goddess Salvation Rank, A+ effects. There was once a goddess who devoted her everything to a hero. She was shredded to pieces by the hero, but she still wished to stay by his side. The goddess was disgraced and sealed herself in a skill card. The goddess can replace memories with skills. You will be able to reinforce your skills and strength by offering her your memories. If the memory you are sacrificing is important to you, the reinforcement effects will be much stronger. The reinforcement effects are temporary. Kim Gonja said to himself, Chis is probably the goddess of protection's fragment that I was unable to get. I assume the hero was the constellation killer. Sword Emperor said, all his skills are so ominous, fitting for him, I guess. This is why all the constellations that love angsty humans love him. Kim Gonja said, I have decided what I am going to get. Sword Emperor said, that one? The downside is way too great, do you not think? Just pass. I do not want to acknowledge it, but your skill list is already pretty amazing. If not for that Goblin High Society, Kim Gonja said, a Goblin High Society will be great someday. Anyway, I have made my choice. I need to use it for something. Kim Gonja said to himself, I need to defeat the constellation killer. However, my victory would not be to eliminate the constellation killer. A system notification said, you have made your choice. Copying skill. Kim Gonja said to himself, it is to do better than him. Kim Gonja said to himself, I will make him realize that his way of doing things is wrong. Regressing to 24 hours ago. At the library, Kim Gongja said to Nisha, I have a favor to ask. Nisha got excited and said, What is it? Tell me what it is, our little treasure. I did not expect you to clear the stage so quickly, especially when a constellation was lying in ambush. As Kim Gongja remembered what Nisha had said during the trauma, did you see the foolish message he sent? Kim Gongja was shocked. Kim Gongja said to himself, No, that was not her. Nisha said, What is it? Kim Gongja said to himself to compare her to someone like that. It is not right. Kim Gongja said nothing. I want to send a letter to the outside world. It does not have to be a letter, but the faster the better. Nisha closed her fan and said, That is easy. If it does not have to be a letter, there is a simpler way to go about it. Where do you want to send it? It is hard to send a letter to a government nation whose systems have fallen. Kim Gongja said, That is fine. I want to send it to the country I was born in. Nisha said, Your homeland? That should be easy. She looked behind her and said, Communicator, come over here. Communicator said, What is it this time? She was ranked 7th, wide-range communicator. Nisha said, Let me introduce her. She is the wide-range communicator. She is from the same place as me, although we are in very different classes. Communicator said, I am leaving, big boss, if you called me here just to spout nonsense. Nisha said, Whoa. Calm down, Brahman. I am going to choose the target sanctuary connecting to the outside world, so get a communication link going. Brahman said, Why should I? Nisha said, It is not for me. It is for Death Sovereign right here. As Brahman and Kim Gongja looked at each other, Kim Gongja said, Please. Brahman looked away. As Nisha showed off her diamond earrings, Brahman said, Ha! I would have turned her down had it been this inferior girl's request, but I have seen how hard you work for the tower. It is only right for hard work to be rewarded. Nisha said, So you are nice to those who are noble, huh? Brahman said, I am going to leave if you open your mouth again. Fine, just get it over with. Nisha said, I pray to the Great Mother. A cherished wish is an unspoken prayer. Please help me so that the unspoken prayer does not turn into screams. Please permit me to stay by your side. I request a small sanctuary here. Brahman said, Give me your smartphone. As Kim Gongja handed over his old phone to Brahman, Brahman pretended to know how to use the phone and said, Connect. Link, noise becomes sound when it is heard by another. People here, people there. All things under the sun and in nature sing and synchronize together. As Kim Gongja and Brahman entered the sanctuary, Nisha said, Enter the sanctuary, Death Sovereign. Brahman said, They shall answer if you call, and they shall reply if you email them. The fee for the call will be separate, but I can pay for that. However, you have to follow the laws of the outside world. As Kim Gongja stepped inside, he took his phone and said, Thanks. Kim Gongja held his phone and tap. The phone rang. Bzzz. Kim Gongja said to himself, This is the first phone number I memorized. In the outside world, the director held his phone as it rang. He answered, saying, Hello, who is this? Kim Gongja said, Director, it is me, Gongja. The director said, Yeah, long time no see. I thought you might get in contact with me someday. I saw that you are doing well. Kim Gongja said, Sorry I could not get in touch with you earlier. The director said, You are at an age where you are busy living life. Cough. Sometimes people I do not know visit the orphanage and ask if you are from here. At first I thought you had done something wrong, although I quickly realized I was mistaken once your friend showed me a video of you. Death Sovereign, was it? What a name. Kim Gongja said, I did not come up with it. It was the tower. The director said, All right. It is relieving to hear your voice, though. Gongja, is something wrong? As Kim Gongja listened silently, he said, I just had a question. The director said, Go ahead. How serious is it? Tell me that first. Kim Gongja said, It is really serious. Probably the most serious topic I have ever talked to you about, the director said. Then wait just 2 minutes. No, give me 3 actually. I will get some coffee and get more situated. Kim Gongja said to himself, I can just picture him right now. How hard is it to get through all of the evil for just one good person to be born, I mean? The director said, All right, I am sitting down now. You can go ahead. Did you graduate from Shinseiyo Middle and High School? Director said, I graduated from Shinseiyo High. It is still pretty renowned now, I think. Kim Gongja said, Were you the class representative in your 2nd year? Director said, Yeah. It has already been decades. Kim Gongja said, When you were the class representative, did something bad happen on the rooftop of the school building? Director said, Yes. Kim Gongja said to himself, Not all of it was a nightmare. Director said, I have never properly talked to him, but Kim Gongja said to himself, the hallways I walked through, the chains on the doors to the rooftop that I looked down at, the barren school field, the old house, everything. Director said, please do not die. Please, let us get through life together. Kim Gongja said to himself, only the ending was false. The things that should have been false were actually reality. Kim Gongja said, do you remember his name? Kim Gongja said to himself, and the story that should have been true was nothing more than a dream. Director said, Kim Yule. His name was Kim Yule. Director said, I got in here on a grant, like Kim Yule. Kim Gongja said to himself, there was once a child who lived such a life. Director said, I am sorry, Kim Yule. Kim Gongja said to himself, there is a person who has lived decades since then. Director said, where did you hear that story? I thought no one knew about it. Kim Gongja said to himself, he was smart enough to get scholarships. He studied instead of sleeping. He dreamed of a future for himself. But that person had to witness inhumane scene. Their teacher had once said, think about your priorities. No one cares about you. Absolutely no one. Kim Gongja said to himself, the choices he could have made were taken away from him. To the director, his remaining life was just a way to prove something, that back then, a child called Yule was alive. Kim Gongja said, Director, he is here. Kim Yule is here. Director said, what are you talking about? Kim Gongja said, he lived in the dumpster field by the mountain. He sat at the very back near the window in class. Do you remember the yard at the back of the school with the school pets? The ones Kim Yule cared for because no one else wanted to. Director said, how do you? Kim Gongja said, you tried to stop the bullying ever since your first year, but the circumstances were all against you two. That is why you gave up. He is here. Director said, can you wait just 1 week? I will go there. 1 week later, director said, I heard that if you enter the tower once, you cannot leave again, and that you cannot even bring stuff from the outside, so I had to take care of some things. Kim Gongja said, are you sure it is all right? Director said, I was going to retire anyway. I already had someone ready to take my position, and there are a few things I was responsible for. But they cannot do anything about it since I am here in the tower now. It is their problem now. Kim Gongja said, welcome, director. Director said, I am no longer the director. You can call me whatever you want. Kim Gongja said to himself, the librarian in a corner specially permitted him to enter the great library since he does not have a title. Director said, I could really tell how much of a great person you have become once I entered this place. Everyone is talking about you here. A bunch of people came to guide me when I entered the tower. Kim Gongja said, I am pretty famous within the tower. I am ranked second. You were last when it came to your studies, though. Cult Interrogator said, aha, you are the one who raised the Death Sovereign. They call me the Cult Interrogator. Nice to meet you. Anastasia said, I am the Black Dragon Guild leader. The Death Sovereign has done a lot for me. He is our vice guild leader, so please let me know if you ever need anything. The Paladin said, I am the Holy Knight, in charge of the first floor's security. This is not something I wanted to tell you on our first meeting, but the tower has always needed a facility to take care of children. I will ask to meet with you later. Director said, thanks for your welcome, everyone. Kim Gongja whispered to the director, you seem used to this kind of setting. Director said, one of the kids from your generation in the facility became a Congress member. When that happened, dozens of people came to our orphanage. Kim Gongja said, huh? Who? Director said, Kim Hanbij. Do you remember him? He changed his name, though. Kim Gongja said, but he was an idiot. What is his new name? Director said, Kim Hanbi. Kim Gongja said to himself, guess he is still foolish then. He just removed the last syllable. Director said, that aside, even though I have seen videos, this world sure is strange. So, where is he? Kim Gongja said, I think I should explain about the powers I earned here first. As they sat down, the director was given a cup of tea. He patiently looked at the tea and said, that is very hard to believe. Director said, but you knowing Kim Yule is already impossible enough. Kim Yule was not even in the yearbook. The fact that there were no traces of him left anywhere was... Think about it, Gongja. Could they not have at least left a blank space for him? Everyone looked so bright in the yearbook photos, too. Those scoundrels, how could they smile so brightly? As the director drank his cup of tea in one go, he then said, bring his traces. Kim Gongja used his new skill, and Lafanta Agim appeared. Lafanta Agim said, I never imagined such a situation. Did you kidnap a puppet and awaken it by force? My powers, I cannot use them. It seems like you either messed with the system or used a powerful force. The director then kneeled and said, Kim Yule, I am one of the people who killed you. I have always wanted to say this. I am really sorry. Thank you so much for watching. That's all for now. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and consider subscribing to help me grow my channel. Your support means the world to me. Don't forget to leave a comment below. I love hearing from you. Let's keep the conversation going and get those analytics buzzing. Until next time, take care.